Hello, what is up, guys? I'm gonna do so. Open beta just like hit us out of nowhere, which we knew was coming soon, but and all that. But it's here. Yay! Hopefully, we can get some really cool ideas from you guys and everything like that. But I wanted to do a video on the just last thing I had to say about closed beta and the biggest feedback I think I can give. I watch all these streamers. I've been keeping up with all this feedback and everything just going on and such, and just hoping that I could get the most collective data possible through everything and just asking everyone everything. And believe me, there's a lot of things I've asked, and unfortunately, fortunately, there's not very much huge criticism, so I'm not going to go into any of that. But there is three main things I've noticed. And Direwolf does study a little bit of this, but obviously they're devs, they're busy, so don't hate them for this. But just in case this is some of the stuff that I feel like they might not know, most likely they do. Honestly, they're probably already working on this, but let's still say it anyways and say reasons why. Okay, so the main biggest thing I've noticed from like Hearthstone streamers like Trump and stuff trying out this game, what the chat will say, is they don't really like the scroll, what you're playing on. They don't like how it's not as atmospheric and it's not as interactive. And a lot of them say like I was pampered by Hearthstone, which granted, and stuff like that. If this game came out before Hearthstone, then maybe they wouldn't be as pampered and they wouldn't expect that kind of stuff. But I do feel like I had a pretty cool concept, and overall, I do feel like because so many people want that kind of stuff, I do feel like you'll reach more players by doing this and actually making it more atmospheric and more interactive. And unfortunately, uh, that's just the way it kind of is. I've seen because I have been watching Trump and stuff. Of course, you get those guys that come in and say this isn't Hearthstone Resident Sleeper, and they leave. Like, just that's whatever. That's not real feedback, but mainly that this is the main feedback I've seen in those chats. And here's an idea I had. It's just a concept. Take it or leave it. I'm sure you guys are probably already working on something like this. I have no idea, but I'm sure you probably are. But I did want you to know that's the biggest feedback I've seen in the chats and from the players that are playing your game. That's criticism. Um, so I had an idea. Why not set it up to where or it's first off, arena's fine. Arena, the atmosphere and everything's fine. Why not set it up to where when you're playing constructed, to where it feels like you're in a bar? Okay. Now, what do you do in a bar really? You play. Let's say this is a bar in Elder Scrolls where you play card games for whatever reason. So you're in a bar playing card games. Now the only things you really do in a bar is you might hear some stories. You might hear a bar playing some music. You might get asked about rumors or something like that. That's it. So it's not too hard to, or it is pretty hard to program for a card game. I shouldn't have even started to say that, but hopefully it's not too hard. Basically, my idea I had was that you'll have some gold on your sides, and then you can tap it. And when you tap it, you start paying these. Either the left side will pay the bard because there's a little bit of open area. The left side will pay the bard, and then maybe at the beginning you have like 5 different options or something, maybe even less. They don't have to be amazing options. But I'll get more into all this, and I'll try to go as much detail as I can without miswording stuff. But basically, you have 5 options before you enter the game when you're creating your first character. Go to story mode, like are you heroic? Um, actually, just do it before you play your first ranked game. And then just this is just a concept, by the way. It's not really fleshed out. I did try to flesh out the main concept though. Um, but you have like heroic, and then you have a guy that just doesn't talk at all. And if the guy doesn't talk at all and he's unknown, then that's how you like mute everything. If you don't want the atmospheric feel and all that, maybe that way like turn it off kind of thing. But let's just go with heroic. Let's say you picked heroic. As heroic, maybe if you pay the bard like 50 gold on your side, you click it 5 times, then the bard will be like, "What song do you want to play?" And you'll be like, "Oh, I'll play a song about you then." And then he starts singing, about you, like, "Alone the dragon," and all that stuff. So I'm not gonna start singing. I don't want to break your eardrums. But so you could do something like that, and then you can have people talking in the background, like, "Did you hear about this guy? Did the Dark Brotherhood just killed this girl because a contract the orphan signed with them? And they really didn't like her." And then your guy's heroic, so he's like, "Do not fear the Dark Brotherhood, my brothers. I will defeat them with all my party, and I will avenge my ancestors," or something like that. You're heroic. That's how you talk, and you can do something like that, and it'll make it feel a lot more atmospheric. And then the interaction comes from when you're tapping that gold. The other part I had, which is the part I mainly liked, I feel like you could have like the bartender, and you could do a thing where like they put their hands in like to the side like this or something, and you tap the gold into their hand. But that might be a little too hard. I don't know how hard coding is. So, But the bartender could come over and like ask you if you want a drink, and then if you tap the gold, it'll mean yes, and the more you pay her, the more like sips you get. And then if your guy takes like, let's say 5 sips, which is probably going to be the max, then maybe for like a second, like you could keep tapping it to take drinks, and then maybe like every drink gives a little bit of an animation, like maybe you spit it a little bit or something. And then this might be really hard to do, by the way. I have no idea. It's just a concept. Just want to keep reminding people that. But so after he takes like probably like 5 drinks, and your guy gets really buzzed or he's like a little drunk, and then you start like seeing like everything's a little fuzzy, but it's only for a couple seconds. You don't want to ruin the card game, but I think that would make it very interactive and make it very realistic. Like if you're playing a card game in Elder Scrolls. That was my idea, and I feel like it's a pretty good idea. So, but take it or leave it. I'm sure you guys are already working on something to make the board look nicer. But that is the biggest feedback I see. Now here's 2 things for me that I have seen other people say as well, but 2 things for me. Like, and there was one thing I wanted to say. I felt like maybe the ladder might be too easy, but people like I'm in the minority, big time, guys. So that's fine. But another thing is that even though I would say I'll get to the 2 things first. Basically, one is that every time you guys patch, there's quite a few bugs. And I'm not hating, it's beta, that's the way it's supposed to be. But obviously, before release, somehow that's going to have to be worked with, I think. And I'm not hating on it. I'm actually kind of fine with the bugs. But, like, obviously, people are going to rail your game, especially with open beta. Like, I'm a little scared for it to go in open beta so quickly because open beta, people are going to criticize the game hard. A lot of people don't know what beta means. But definitely I feel a little scared that that's going to happen. But hopefully it won't. Hopefully it's all good feedback. So far it has been. Like, people that play for 2 hours or so usually give good feedback. They don't come in biased. I mean it's been overwhelmingly positive, honestly. But and then the third thing is the launcher. This thing right here on the screen. This is not Daiwa Digital, this is completely Bethesda, and not hating on it, but the launcher has had a lot of issues over the course of the beta, and it's probably the biggest thing for feedback on the support section. People saying, my launcher doesn't work, this is wrong with the launcher, this is wrong, and then, yeah, these 3 things are the main things I think need to be worked with, and not just my concept, but just the idea in general of making the board more atmospheric and interactive is the 2 main key points. And I gave the reasons why. It will get more players into your game. A lot of players have, I don't want to say they actually have ADHD, but they kind of will say they have it it's kind of like a joke, but not really a joke. I don't know. But point is that, yeah, that's something that'll get a lot more players into your game. And I do feel like that's something that's very much needed into this game. In some way, it needs to be more atmospheric and more interactive. And I feel like it's a good idea to make it where you're setting in a bar. Now, another point I wanted to make is people, this is a beta. Give feedback, please. But don't give feedback like the first day unless it's like a first impressions feedback, because I did that as well. But we usually wait like about a week to give major feedback because you want to at least collect enough data from yourself to even grasp what you're talking about. But after like about a week of playing, sometimes a month, if you really want to wait it out, probably give some feedback and tell them what your first impressions of the game is, and tell them just how you feel about the game. Like the devs, I can give you my word, over the course of the closed beta, they have changed a lot and listened to us. But don't come in and just say like, Prophecy sucks, change it. Don't say stuff like that. Give constructive criticism. If you really don't like Prophecy, then say why you don't like Prophecy and say why it's bad for the game and give an idea to make it better or something like that. Who knows, maybe you actually have a tweak to it that makes it better. But definitely always try to be constructive and with your criticism, and definitely give feedback, guys. Don't just play the game. Try your best to give feedback wherever you can, and just try to make the game a better game in general, as best as you can. Anyways, I love you all, and thanks for this. And this is just going to be my last closed beta feedback sort of thing in general. And I think as long as these 3 things are fixed, these are only really the big issues that I've seen talked about. I really don't think this game has any issues outside of that. So I think this game is in the clear, honestly. I think this is a very solid game. I mean, like, Trump will say things, like some people will bring up Trump's stream. Obviously, he's not going to say this game is better than Hearthstone. He's not going to say anywhere near that. He's not going to he did like the game, and he said it could be like kind of like the Dota to Hearthstone's League of Legends kind of deal. But they're not going to say it's better or anything near that. And the reason why is because Hearthstone's the game he makes money with, right? He's not going to trash that game or say anything bad about that game ever. That's just the way it goes. Um, but basically, I would say probably 90% of people that play this game longer than 2 hours, especially big streamers, actually every single big streamer but one really loved this game. The only one that didn't was Angry Joe, but he kind of came in, played one ranked game, and played the first act, and then said it was a Hearthstone clone. When he was drunk, by the way. So I don't really know how well that goes, but basically 90% of people like this game that have played it over 2 hours and that come in typically unbiased. Of course, you have those 10% that come in and don't really even give the game a chance and then leave, but what can you do? So pat yourselves on the back. You're doing a good job. This is just some feedback I felt like was pretty important, and I wanted to do it in a video because I wanted you to hear the reasons why, and I just felt like I can say things better than I can type it. But this will be the only video with feedback probably ever, unless there's something really, really important. But I feel like these are the three things from closed beta. The biggest feedbacks that I feel like should be worked on, and that's it. And I feel like everything else is perfect. I feel like close to perfect as I would expect. So good job, guys, and hope all you guys have a great night, great day wherever you're from. That's what a great fan Shoma would say, and I love you all.